Doomsday Clock, issue number 1. So, here we go. The highly anticipated Doomsday Clock, the sequel to Watchmen. I will preface this video by saying this. I actually hated the Watchmen. Yeah, I know. Pull out your torches and your pitchforks. But yeah, I know it's like kind of sacrilegious thing to say, in the comic book community, but I found Watchmen to be really boring. It was just not my cup of tea. I wouldn't have even read it if I wasn't forced to. Uh, Basically, when I was going to university, I took a writing for comic book class, and we had required reading. We had to read 3 graphic novels, and one of them was Watchmen. The other 2, in case you guys are interested, was Blankets, was one of them. I hated that one too. I hated Blankets. It's just not my kind of book. I'm not really a fan of that kind of slice of life drama story. I like slices of life stories if they're like lighthearted and sweet. Like basically, like the I like the slice of life that's like gonna give me diabetes when I read them. Like, all right, some of my favorite slice of life. Well, pretty much all my favorite slice of life come from manga. But Yosuba, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. That's one of my favorite series of all time. I freaking love it. The main character's so cute, but this like the adventures, it's so like innocent, comedic, lighthearted. Like it's guaranteed to put a smile on your face. Anytime when I'm feeling down, I always read that. I read also a Korean manhwa called All Day Jo Ayong. I believe, if I'm butchering the names of these, forgive me. I don't speak Japanese or Korean, so I'm gonna butcher some of these names. There's Asagayo to Kase-san, I believe is another one. Barakamon. Basically, like these kind of stories, those kind of slices of lives are the stuff that I like. But stuff like Blankets was just, it was boring as all heck. Dark Knight was another required reading. Yeah, I hated that too. But I couldn't stand it. I don't know. I hated that. But yeah, the other one was Watchmen. I found Watchmen just to be boring. I think another thing that I hated about it was I hated all the characters. All the characters are so unlikable that I just like, why do I want to read this story about these really unlikable characters? Like there's no one I can like here's the thing, okay, I know they were like purposely done to not, I don't know if they were purposely done to be unlikable, but they were purposely done to kind of be like the antithesis to superheroes. Like Watchmen is basically like a deconstruction of the superhero genre. And I completely get that. But the thing is, it's like, if you're going to have like a lot of unlikable characters for as your main characters, like who we follow the story with, and they're purposely done to be unlikable, you got to have at least one likable character that we can all relate to, or that we can all like, us the audience can like empathize with, or like, follow the story along with. But there really wasn't. I guess Rorschach was kind of cool. Like I didn't mind Rorschach. He was an interesting character. But other than him, I hated everybody. I hate Night Owl. I hate oh man, what's her name? Silk something. I hated Dr. Manhattan. I hated all of them. So yeah, not a fan of the Watchmen at all. But everyone was hyping up the heck out of this series, Doomsday Clock. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to give it a chance. And I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I would. Very slow start. Not really any action. Then again, it is a sequel to Watchmen. Watchmen wasn't really an action story. So for anyone who is unfamiliar with Watchmen, basically there was like it took place like in the 70s, and relationship between Russia and the US was deteriorating, and basically it was about to lead to like a nuclear war. And this former hero, now CEO of a company. His name is Adrian Vet. I can't pronounce his last name. I believe his superhero name was Ozymandias. I'm just going to call him Adrian because that's his first name. Anyways, he came up with this plan where he faked a alien invasion in the hopes of uniting USA with Russia. Like USA and Russia would see, like, hey, there's this bigger threat. Let's band together to fight this bigger threat. And that would be like the end of the Cold War. Basically, Adrian created this giant Cthulhu-like creature in one of his laboratories. He teleported it into Manhattan, and that teleportation caused the destruction of a lot of buildings, the deaths of a lot of people. People who weren't killed were like seriously injured. Basically, it caused untold destruction, and everyone who saw it kind of realized, hey, you know, they were under the impression that they were being invaded by extraterrestrials, and relationship with the U.S. kind of like improved because it thought, okay, you know, we have a bigger threat than each other right now, so let's band together to attack let's join together to prepare ourselves for this like alien invasion. But Rorschach kind of discovered this plot, and he wrote it down on the journal, and he sent that journal out to a newspaper site before he got killed. And according to Doomsday Clock, the journal was found. Rorschach's code, because Rorschach, when he wrote in his journal, he had like I guess a certain code that he wrote in, was cracked, and the plot was revealed. And once the population realized that this alien invasion was actually fake and that Adrian was the one that created it, there was untold chaos. They started like rioting the streets. Relationships with Russia deteriorated, and now Russia's trying to invade like Europe, specifically Poland, in the beginning of this issue. That's basically like the setup for this. So we cut to a prison where we see Rorschach searching for someone who's locked away, and we get like basically interesting dialogue from him. Like he has like a really interesting speech pattern. Like here, I'll read just like a little brief part of it. Last day on Earth. Went to Morning Joe's for pancakes. Best in city. Sat in Amy's section. Doesn't stare. Brings syrup hot. Amy's boyfriend came. Dragged her out back. Redhead who stares brought order instead. Syrup. Cold. Couldn't eat. Breakfast ruined. Amy came back. Bruises on neck. Split lip. Found boyfriend. Broke hands. Put fork through tongue. Forgot to tell him why. Hope he got message. So yeah, very weird, interesting character. But I find him intriguing. But he finds the holding cell that he's looking for. So yeah, inside is a woman named Erica Manson. She's also known as the Marionette. I'm guessing she was created for this series because I've never heard of this character before. Rorschach basically tells her that the city that they're in is going to get nuked, and they have about like 3 hours to get out, and that he needs her help for something. But she is kind of freaked out because last she heard Rorschach had died, and Rorschach is kind of telling her like, I'm Rorschach, but I'm not the same Rorschach. It's very weird. Like he keeps claiming to be Rorschach, but he's not the original Rorschach. And then she asks for him to prove it, so he takes off one of his gloves, and it's revealed that he's an African American. So obviously not the same Rorschach, because Rorschach in the original Watchmen was basically a ginger, I believe. But yeah, he basically says that, you know, we need your help, and if you help us, we will find out where your kid is. So I guess her kid's been taken from her. I don't know. She at first tries to threaten him, but then he kind of reminds her, hey, you know, we only got about like 3 hours to get out of here. So she agrees to help, but she won't help him unless they also break out her husband. So we cut to basically like a prison fight, and we see her husband. Her husband is like a mute. He doesn't speak, doesn't make any kind of sound. The prisoners pull him out of his cell and start beating him up. And she mentions that her husband's like in the middle of a performance, and I guess the performance is he likes to play the underdog, give his like opponents like the false impression that they're winning before he turns the tables on them, which he ends up doing. He like beats the heck out of the prisoners. But anyways, They leave the prison, hop into Rorschach's car, and he drives them out of the city into Night Owl's lair. And at first, they think that Night Owl is the partner that Rorschach is working with. Oh, I probably should have mentioned. Yeah, Rorschach, basically, he's working with somebody, and he tells Erica, the lady, that he needs her help to find God. For anyone who didn't get the reference, God is supposed to be Dr. Manhattan. Like, they believe that Dr. Manhattan can help solve this crisis. But anyways, he takes them to Night Owl's lair, and it turns out that it's actually not Night Owl that he's partnered with, but it's actually Adrian Ozymandias, the guy who created the Cthulhu creature and faked the whole false invasion. The one person that like, everybody is like after because of all the people that he killed with his little stunt. Adrian informs the husband and wife that he's dying of cancer, and he is willing to offer them the location of their son as well as a huge prize. In exchange, they have to help him find Dr. Manhattan. So then we cut to Clark Kent, who's having a dream of his senior prom, and so his parents drop him off, and he's at the prom, and he's there by himself. He wanted to go with Lana, but he, I guess, was too scared to ask her out, and she went with someone else. So he's basically at the prom, sitting by himself, watching her having fun with someone else. And as this is happening, Jonathan and Martha, his parents, are driving back home when a truck runs a red light and plows into them and kills them. That's something I actually didn't know. I didn't know that they died in a car crash. But yeah, so Jonathan and Martha get killed in a car crash, and Clark wakes up, and Lois, his wife, is there next to him, and he was telling her about how he had a nightmare, and he told her like the nightmare, well, it's not even really a nightmare so much because it actually happened, and how he heard his parents die. Like, even though he wasn't there, because of his superhearing, he heard the tire screech, he heard his mom scream, he heard his dad grit his teeth. He heard his parents dying, and I'm like, oh man, that is some heavy stuff. I can't imagine hearing my parents like at the moment of their death. That is something I don't ever want to hear or witness. But yeah, Lois is trying to like basically help him. She's like, I can't remember the last time you've ever had a nightmare. And Clark basically tells her, I don't think I've ever had one. And that's how it ends. So yeah, that was Doomsday Clock issue number 1. Like I said, it was interesting. I'm intrigued. Not much really happened, but I mean, this is more of like, setting down the groundwork, setting down the foundation for the series. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to, because like I said, I absolutely hated The Watchmen. Then again, maybe I should try reading The Watchmen again. I read The Watchmen when I was like younger. Maybe things kind of just flew over my head. Maybe if I sat down with it and gave it another shot, I might enjoy it more. But I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. But yeah, I'm intrigued with this issue. A lot of people are like basically saying that this is going to be like the next classic. This is going to be like the big series that kind of like how people talk about Watchmen, Dark Knight. Like, this is going to be like the next big series. I guess we'll see. So far, like I said, interesting. I mean, I still think when it comes to like the best series so far this year, I have to give my hats off to Mr. Miracle. Yeah, I surprisingly enjoyed this issue, and I'm looking forward to see where it goes from here. So we'll see how this goes. So for anyone who has read Doomsday, what do you guys think? Also, is there anyone out there that kind of feels the same way I feel about Watchmen? That it's just like it's overhyped? I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only one. Everyone I talk to like just hypes the heck out of that series, but I found it so boring. But yeah, despite that, this issue was actually, like I said, not that bad. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll catch you guys all next time. Later.